can do that. Cool. Let me go ahead and I'll step aside and do that.
Let's see how that looks.
Yeah. You just FYI, you guys are live and being recorded.
So don't say crazy things. I left my notes at home.
Hello?
I think it's sitting on top of my desk.
Okay, let's go.
My dice, all of it. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. So hey, we're live. That's fun.
Yeah.
The first episode happened. We're gonna get started. If anyone ends up somehow wandering in the next like 30 seconds, we'll start playing here in a few minutes. Carlos is gonna make an announcement, and then we'll get started. So for now, how's y'all's week?
Woo!
Yeah. It's the library's had a weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it?
All of our systems are down.
Oh, really?
Stop it.
It's bad. But hey, all of this is still working, so we can go ahead and do this, and all of our
Yay.
programming stuff is still on. It's just that we are locked out of our catalog, and don't have access to locked out of our catalog, and our computers aren't working for
Which-
like people to like public computers for people to use.
Which
So-
means everybody who works catalog in the bottom floor must be like, yeah. Yeah.
So if you have a library book right now from Dallas Library, don't return it. You're good.
Actually, no, straight up, don't return
Just
it.
hold on
Keep
to
on
it.
to them. We promise you they will be extended on that due date. By like an extra however long. We're fine free to begin with, but you don't have to worry about like no checkouts and everything else because right now we're doing it ye old fashioned way.
There you go.
For right now, and then we'll fix it later. But don't turn stuff into us right now just because we don't have the means of processing it. And every book that gets turned in is just going to be put into storage, which means you might turn something in and then it's not going to get touched for like
A month.
A couple of weeks.
weeks until after this is fixed, and who knows how long until this is back up again. So yeah, just like if you've got a library book, chill. You can still come and check stuff out. Just don't return anything until the all clear is given from your local library branch to say yes, bring your books back.
Shout out to your librarians, your library associates, and your pages because that bookshelving and check-in process, it's gonna be a dream. And by dream, I mean nightmare.
It's gonna be rough. We're gonna get right now on this floor. We get probably about 6 to 8 tubs a day.
Oh.
It's probably gonna shoot to double that for a couple weeks after it happens, just because they're gonna be keeping it downstairs. It's gonna be a constant stream. But hey, not the end of the world. What about you guys? Anything like tabletop gaming related that you guys want to talk about that you've done? Any things in your personal game that was cool while we wait for the announcement and everything?
So the English department and I, they are doing the Scottish play or reading the Scottish play, Macbeth.
Shh.
I know. Well, we're not in a theater, so we can say
Okay,
it.
okay.
We're not
Technically.
Well, yeah, okay. So Mackers, the Scottish play.
Yeah.
And they have requested, after watching last week's episode, they've requested that we put together a tabletop play primarily using characters from Mackers. And I was like, why don't you let us finish this one first?
Yeah.
I
But-
love the idea.
But I do.
But-
I do think there's a really fun idea in staged LARP.
Mm-hmm.
Like taking like the frameworks of like a LARP and then setting it within a thing,
Yeah.
and then having people like having the director, aka the GM, in the back,
Yeah.
rolling, like having them like in the back on the microphone. Roll blank as like God thunders down, and then the characters stop whatever they're doing, pull out a dice, roll it on whatever the clear surface is, and then they're just like 17.
Does it hit?
Does it hit? Yep, you're good.
All right, continue.
And stage combat.
Yeah.
I think that's a really fun, like almost like vaudeville-esque thing to do. You're like, what's the Dallas theater that does that? The Sandwich Box theater does those kind of like
Oh, pocket
sandwich.
Pocket
Yes,
sandwich.
and do
Yeah.
those, like your villain comes out. Boo!
Oh
that
yeah,
kind of
the
stuff, throw
popcorn shows
yeah, dude.
are big fun there.
Yeah,
big
so
fun.
something like that, I think that would be a good thing. But I'm glad that that's like a thing that people are like, yo, do this.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun idea. Yeah. In my tabletop space, I moved, so I have not done any of that.
Oh my god.
Since we last spoke. However, I am starting back up my Savage Worlds campaign online. It's a Stone Age fantasy setting. Gonna be fun. We've got like a lizardman that's like walking around all like, "Rah, I'm part dinosaur." It's great.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And then I've also been eyeing, because my cousin is like, I would like to do this, and I'm like, what system does it? Savage World has a like character setting thing you can do where everyone can be kaijus.
That'd
And
be dope.
I really like the idea of a game where it's just a bunch of like idiots as like big bumbling kaijus like rolling in a pack trying to become the new king of the monsters. Like, I like that as a concept of just like that D&D-ification of that.
I want to be a kaiju.
Right? It's like a fun concept. Like, it's just like, yeah, we've got a Godzilla, here's our Mothra, we've got
Yeah.
our Gamera, like, let's go out and do this. Your, like, main bad is, like, just King Ghidorah or whatever, or something, like some monster from the stars that's come down and is, like, trying to take over the planet. And,
It'd have to be better than the Rampage movie.
yeah, and then you just have, like, your crews doing that, and it's, like, in addition to fighting other monsters, you're having to, like, navigate this world where there are humans.
Right?
And so you're just like these little tiny pink things that you step on. And it's like, are you the type are you like Mothra and a friend to the humans? Are you like Godzilla, who is neutral to humans and is just trying to protect the world? Or are you like, do you hate humans? Like Ghidorah or like Rodan, and you're just like, no. All of them. I'm gonna just plow through it. It's gonna be great.
Sign me up.
I know. So
Sign me up.
I'm looking into it, and I think it's a really
pretty
cool concept. Yeah.
Well, I run a game on Friday nights, and we are entering year 3 of the game that I've wanted to run since high school.
Dude, I'm jealous.
And
Mazel tov.
they started by just kind of allowing me to go with it, because I started running I think 88 is when it came out, the TMNT and Other Strangeness role-playing game.
Dude,
It is so much fun to listen to.
And we have changed systems 5 times since we started, because that system is terribly broken.
Yeah.
Palladium and
So like,
and
what
their
are you
skill
using
system.
now?
We have migrated. We went from Palladium. Well, actually, we went from TMNT to their. Oh my gosh, their superhero system.
Yeah.
And then we went from that to the Tiny D6 system,
Okay.
and we've just now migrated to Easy D6.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And we are, of course, 3 years in. We are way OP for that system, but it's a blast.
Yeah. No. Like,
So,
I like
yeah.
D6 systems
Yeah.
a lot.
Well, I
They're
really like
so
this
easy
one
to
because
grok.
it's got a concept called karma, so it's like in-game
Yeah.
currency that you can affect your
Yeah.
your roles and stuff.
I
and stuff
like
that. So
wild
it's a lot of fun.
mechanics. I went to a game store the other day and I found this card game called MetaZoo, because I just like to experiment with new card games, right? Like, I play Magic and I've played them all. Yeah, so whenever I see a new one, I'm like, ooh, what's this about? Because I like to get in the nitty-gritty. It's like, what kind of interesting mechanics do you have? Nothing bores me more when I pick up a game and I'm like, are we just doing Duel Masters again? Come on, people, let's get creative. This one, it's creative because it has MetaZoo. It's called that because like the creatures you're summoning are all based on actual like cryptids. So like one of the cards you could just get Bigfoot. Like, he's just a character you can play. But the meta aspect is also that it has what they call fourth wall mechanics, where the cards get buffed depending on the location, time of day, and weather of when you're playing. So, like, they have all these different elements, but there's some that are like, hey, if you're playing this card during a full moon, do X in
Interesting.
addition to this
Okay.
effect.
Yeah.
Ooh, fun.
Are
That's
you
kinda
playing? Is it
Yeah.
raining outside? This effect happens. Are you within 5 miles of a forest? You get this bonus. And I'm just like, this seems interesting, because now I'm imagining like tournaments. Like, you're going to a tournament for this game, and you look at the time, date, and the projected weather, and that helps determine what kind of deck you're playing, along with the actual meta of
Yeah.
like,
Ooh.
these are considered the most powerful cards in the thing. And you're like, that's true, but it is going to be a full moon that night.
Yeah.
Right.
I would
So
say you have
maybe,
your
maybe
day deck,
now
your
the
night deck, your
yeah,
sunny
maybe
deck,
now's the time to bust out the werewolves, baby. So yeah.
Well, yeah, we just didn't talk mechanics because I can geek out about that all the
Oh,
time.
dude, there's
But
so
with an
much.
easy D6 system, I can implement stuff like I got a guy who's got a magic pair of dice that he has to shoot craps. Literally, we shoot a hand of craps
Yeah.
against the demon to see if he does his bidding or not.
Yeah.
We've got a technological foundry where they can feed their weapons into in lieu of magical item upgrades.
Yeah.
And it's literally Yahtzee. They roll a Yahtzee hand, and they can fill out a hand on their Yahtzee
I
scorecard.
love-
They successfully upgrade their item to what they want it to be, and they only got that many chances.
I adore
Yep.
instigating mini games
Yep,
in my
yep.
campaigns.
Yeah,
I
and I got
love
another
it
character,
whenever
got
I'm
another
like, y'all
character
know
with
that.
a whole deck of cards. He's got to.
Y'all know Yahtzee? Y'all know how to play 52 pickup? And do you guys remember Memory when you were a kid, right? Match these two cards, do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
That's your
it's-
mini game.
Yeah.
Y'all played Slay the Spire. Like, let's do this.
Let's go.
All right. So yeah, we're let's go ahead and get started. Yeah. So who wants to give a let's do a quick run up. What happened last episode? Yeah, guys. What's occurred?
Yeah.
Well, Roslyn has thrown quite the ostentatious, over-the-top, gaudy party at her residence, and has shown herself to be pretty domineering, and a bit of a hot temper, much in the same way that her brother Tybalt from
Yeah.
Tybalt from Romeo and Juliet would have. And she hasn't quite figured out what journey she needs to go on yet. I'm sure she'll find out this episode. But we had a couple of attackers show up, and at one point, I really hope David shares with you the version of the attackers that he has created, because they're pretty gross.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty gross. And I have stumbled onto Yorick and Moth within the fight.
Yeah.
And I'll stop there and let somebody else
Yeah.
jump in, so I'm not talking the whole
So,
time.
Yeah. So our world was established. Perpetual Dusk. Right?
Yes.
Above table 2, I was just wondering, as a player, how long has the Bardlands been in this Perpetual Dusk?
So the Perpetual Dusk has been around now for probably about off and on 3 to 5 years.
Okay,
So,
so nothing new.
it's not constant. It started out with it just being that the days got longer for a while. And remember, some days it's dusk, some days it's more like dawn.
Okay.
And the scariest part is the blackouts, where it's complete darkness for usually only for a few seconds, but it still does happen. But for about 3 to 5 years now, and for this probably past few months, it's not changed. It's been in a constant. It's
Yeah.
like it's yeah.
Okay. All right. So nothing extremely new, but no rhyme or reason to
Yeah,
kind of what's happening.
there's a
Okay.
pattern. There might be a pattern to it, but no one's quite figured out what that pattern
long enough
is.
for life to have reemerged involved around
yes,
what's happening
people
now.
are
Okay.
starting to adapt.
So we are in Verona. It is the first day of Christmas.
It is the first of the 12 nights.
The first
of
of the 12
Christmas.
nights of Christmas, yes.
Yes.
And yeah. So in addition to Rosalind Capulet hosting the party, in the kitchen you had Yorick disguised as just a simple dishwashing busboy, and we find out that Yorick is also Yorick, just like Rosalind is the Rosalind character from Romeo and Juliet. Yorick is the Yorick, the skull held aloft by Hamlet to the, all of that good stuff. Somehow brought back to life, utilizing disguised self, utilizing invisibility to play his role in an organization called the Shadow Players that we heard a little bit about.
Yes.
And he was directed to seek out Moth, and so their paths crossed in last episode as well. So yeah, and we were just at the beginning discussing Moth's quest when there was panic on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a dork.
I mean, I've been sitting on that for 2 weeks.
He really has. Sheesh.
Yeah, then we ran into a character Moth, who's a little disheveled and a little out of his element in this world of shoes and full amounts of clothing. He was given an important quest that he is 100% totally in control of and knows exactly what's happening and what he needs to do. On this quest, he's looking for a folio that he knows exactly what a folio is, obviously. That was the important part, that he knows exactly everything that is going on. Yeah, he kind of accidentally runs into this scary skeleton-looking dude that was apparently looking for him. He had no idea. Who somehow also knows about the folio, which is good because it's good to have a second person that also knows all the stuff about folios. So, he doesn't quite know as much as Moth, but obviously.
Yes.
And then he saw this cool party with what he assumed was other Fae type looking people that at least wanted to be Fae, and a scary lady with really cool shoulder pads. So he had to go step in and help, and Hoppers basically saved the day is what happened. So
Yes.
Definitely. Yes, it was Hoppers.
It was
100% Hoppers.
it was Hoppers, not the giant fireball that I
No,
unleashed
not the fireball.
No.
inside, causing my team members to get a little bit of damage there.
Yes.
And then found out at the end that my mom died. You're mean for that.
So, to start, let's fill in the gap a little bit on the world, shall we?
Yes.
In between the various city-states that make up the Bard Lands, they are broken up, besides the city-states, each with their own individual lights that shine in the scars to illuminate and create the day-night cycle. Beyond that, on the edges, are the pastorals. The pastorals are farmlands and small villages. Quiets. Here, magic is much more free-flowing. Contact with the Fae occurs more often. The Fae typically do not dwell within the cities. The more developed cities, capable of iron, fire, that kind of thing, is off-putting to the Fae. It doesn't have the natural eloquence that they seek in where they wish to meander and party. The pastorals, although laid back and still filled with the touch of humans, is far calmer. And so both humans and Fae that seek sort of peace will end up wandering these pastorals for a time, taking in local color and always making sure to never venture into what the humans call the backstage, what the Fae call their home. These umbral, black, shadowy places that the Fae and the spirits dwell in are filled with, to the Fae, obvious and natural corridors that take you from pastoral to pastoral, city-state to city-state. Humans, on the other hand, and other humanoids, do not have the capability of navigating these places. So if one wishes to go from city-state to city-state, one must find aid, whether it be in a Fae that has taken pity upon you, a Fae that you are willing to offer favor to, or a group of humans that are either enchanted, bound to, or employed by a Fae, and are then taken from place to place as a means of making sure that one is safe and does not become lost in the backstage, where the wild and dark things dwell. So, we open up with screams. Lady Capulet is dead. Rosalind, you stare down at the rotting, inky black thing that you've had to use your magic to destroy as an attendant is tugging at your sleeve, trying to tell you that you need to go to the kitchen, that you need to see. What is your response to that?
Why are you pulling my arm? What do you want? What do you want?
Your mother.
What about her? What is she mad about now?
No, Rosalind. And he sort of takes you and tries to whisper. Rosalind, something has happened. Your mother is not breathing. You need to come to the kitchen now.
Not breathing.
Breathing.
Okay.
Are you following him into the kitchen?
Dashing behind him.
What about you two?
I think Yorick would be so entrenched in what this creature was and what had happened here that he would probably stay until he got some more information.
And you.
My only real connection to coming in here is York, so I probably would kind of stick with him.
Okay. So both of you roll investigations and tell me those numbers in a second whenever we're done with Rosalind's scene here. Rosalind, you go into the kitchen and you see your mother on the ground, color drained from her face. Physically, besides that drained color, she looks fine. There's no blood, no rot, no taint from these things. You see no sign of something that would be like this that happened to her. Roll investigation or medicine.
Oh boy. This is gonna get me in my heart already. I'm sorry. That is a 21.
In
Investigation.
an investigation, you look around. The only thing you notice is next to your mother's outstretched hand, a goblet filled with spilled wine on the ground. You go over to it and you smell. And you realize that in addition to the typical heady grape and spices aroma that comes off of your mother's favorite wine, there's this acrid sort of bitter thing that's not supposed to be there.
So I'm gonna grab my mom and I'm gonna throw the cup down, grab my mom, and immediately flip her over and try to get her to vomit. Spit it out. Spit it out. Mom.
Roll medicine.
That is a 21.
Damn. On a 21, after a few seconds of shaking her, you realize it's too late. Whatever she took was fast acting and powerful. You put your ear to her chest, and after about 15 seconds, you're about to give up when you hear a single beat.
Oh, thank God.
And then you wait about another 15 seconds. You hear a second one. Put your face to her mouth, and at first you think you don't feel anything, but there's the smell again of the wine, and you realize it's still on her breath. She's alive, but looks, for all intents and purposes, dead.
Right.
Something that was placed in here has put her in a state of some kind, and you don't know what could have caused this. Unless you would like to roll a history check.
Yes.
With advantage on this.
Okay. With that advantage anyway, it's a 23.
Okay. So with that 23, at first, in that first wave of panic, you go, what could have caused this? What could have done this? And then you think back to about 6-7 years ago when your father came storming in about the Montagues, the mongrel dogs that took away his niece. Those violent, stupid animals. dared attempt to poison her, and then ended up failing and stabbing her instead. And you remember hearing about this poison and how they must have been a mix-up at whoever sold it to her, and instead of getting something that would have killed her outright, it just puts you in a death-like stupor. And you remember hearing about this specifically. And you put two together. This must be the same thing. Whatever agent there was on that day that caused the poisoning of those two, this is surely something similar.
Mommy, you're gonna be all right. And I know you're just sleeping right now. I want to know who did this. Who gave her this?
The chef shakes. It wasn't any of us. She came in and grabbed a glass herself and then poured it herself. She was in a tizzy, upset about something.
Where's the bottle it came from?
And he reaches into a cabinet and he pulls out a freshly opened bottle. It looks like there was only about one glass taken away from it. And he hands it to you. We had just got her a new bottle the other day. It's one of her favorites. I always try to keep it freshly stocked. And he hands you the bottle.
I'm going to sniff the bottle, see if I can smell any kind of
Roll
hint
perception.
to it. At a 17.
On a 17, it smells like wine, and you're about to think that you might be off on this. Maybe it was the cup, when there is that faint, acrid odor again coming off of it. And you look and hold the bottle up to the light, and you see just on that bottom, typically with wines of this type, there's always a little bit of scum at the bottom that's from the barrels and stuff where it was aged, a little bit that was left over in that process. It typically takes on the same color of either the barrel or the wine itself. This powder at the bottom, however, has a faint yellowish tint, unlike the surrounding powder that has a blood red or dark brown tint. Something is off and was put into this bottle and was simply unnoticed by whoever had purchased it, or it was placed in either in the seconds that your mother had poured it or something, but somehow something had come in and altered this bottle of wine.
I want to know who poisoned her. I need one of you to take her upstairs. Two of you. Stay around her.
Yes, we will find your father and we will tell him of these events, and we will bring a doctor, and we will do everything we can, miss.
I want to know who did this.
We will notify the guards. We will have them investigate.
You spread the word right now. I will burn every house down. I will take every single person as my personal prisoner until I find out who did this to my mother. Let it be known.
We will notify the messengers. Yes.
I'm going to keep holding on to that bottle, and I'm going to keep looking at it. Where's the apothecary?
There are several within the city. We could see if the family's contracted apothecary might have insight into this matter. I will send one of the boys to go and find him and bring him here to us.
Good call. Did anyone else have access to this cabinet? Anyone inside the kitchen staff?
All of us have access to it. I have it. The busboys have it. The scullery maids have it. The suppliers of the various things. We had a large party coming today. We've had dozens upon dozens of people that aren't normally part of our staff come in and out of this set part of the building all day today, miss.
We just had 2 people attack me upstairs, and now my mom is almost dead.
Yes. Yes, that is
I need a second.
most likely not a coincidence.
I don't believe it's the Montague family.
No.
I refuse to believe that.
The chef sort of eyes that. He's not sure whether to make heads or tails. He doesn't know enough of whether or not this would be something that the Montagues would necessarily be involved in. Go ahead and roll history for me on that, actually, on that assumption.
17.
On a 17, signs point to no, it's not the Montagues. Your family deals in these more, and frankly, these kinds of underhanded tactics. The Montagues are far more upfront with their personal hatred. They will outwardly antagonize Capulets in the streets, and take less into the more of the magical and roguish archetypes of this kind of war, and stand instead as a martial advantage. Their magicians and warriors carry steel and ironclad spell tomes, and poisoning is not something in their repertoire. Hence why they straight up do not believe and have said that they would never do what your family claims that they did with the attempted poisonings of Romeo and Juliet, saying that no one in their family would go and procure something like that. So, from what you know of them and their mentality, you do not think the Montagues are responsible for this. However, these are dangerous times, and you don't know for sure.
I will not take any more loss. I cannot take any more loss.
At that, we return back to the staircase where Moth and Yorick stand next to the inky, rotting carcass of whatever this thing was. Tell me, what would you two like to do in this instance?
I think that I would definitely be interested in what this thing was, and still, for all practical purposes, it's sleeping.
It seems inert.
Okay, yeah. So I know I had cast a sleep spell on it, and so that was intriguing to me. I think Yorick, he always just the way he's operated since he's been brought back is just to trust wholeheartedly in the assignments that have been given to him by the Dark players. It's what he calls sticking to the script. He's going to follow what the Dark script says. He knows there's a reason for this. He knows there's a reason for Moth, and just his recent thoughts about the discussions in the folio and his searching through his history on that, and that these creatures are obviously somehow made of ink.
Yeah.
This is important. This is all connected. I'm going to turn to Moth and say, I'm not exactly sure, but this is connected to your quest too. This thing, do you have any idea what this might be?
Do I have any idea?
Roll Arcana.
Okay, because I rolled the investigation earlier, but
Yeah. What was your investigation score?
dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right.
My investigation was a 14.
And yours was a 14. Okay.
So Arcana.
Yeah.
Am I tripping? Where's Arcana? Oh, 12.
12. Okay. You're not sure what kind of magic made this thing. On a 12, you know that these things were most likely created artificially. These aren't natural. Something had to make them. From your investigation checks, you're able to parse what the parchments that make up this thing are. You sort of see bits and pieces of it, and off of that, you in particular notice that the top. Give me a second. You see a section of it, and you see it say, "Hence, home, you idle creatures. Get you home." is what you see on a piece of paper sticking out of it. From yours, you see, it is no matter. Let no images be hung with Caesar's trophies. And that's the only parts that you could see that were legible.
Would maybe a history check suit to see if that rings any?
Yes.
All right, let's see here.
That was my first thought too. Is it?
All right, so that's a 21.
Okay. Off of this 21, as a member of the Shadow Players, and as someone who was part of a court at one point in time, having been a appointed jester to a king, you know history, and you know what this is an account of. Do you have anything that you could use as an implement to move these parchments without having to touch it with your hands?
Yeah. First of all, he's completely gloved,
Yeah.
leather clad from the neck down, but he'd probably just tip a dagger.
Yeah. You're able to sort of go over to this thing and you realize that these pieces, hence you idle creatures get you home. Is this a holiday? What know you not? Being mechanical, you ought not walk upon a laboring day without the sign of your profession. Speak, what trade art thou? You realize what this is. You've heard this story. You've seen this play. This thing is made up of a historic play. All of these pieces seem to be from the play Julius Caesar. You sort of piece it together, and something has taken. And at that, that's what you're able to. That these pieces are all pieces of that play. They're all sections. When you go over to the bodies of the other ones and you see the other parchments, they're other sections of Julius Caesar.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So any parchment that we find that's not singed from the fireball.
That's not singed from the fire. That's not singed from the fire. That's not made illegible by the ink. It's all pieces of Julius Caesar.
Because they are all connected. They're not random
Yes.
parchments. This is all from the same thing.
Yes.
Yes. Moth, you're looking for a folio, and I'm not trying to cast any shame on you, but do you know what that is?
I mean, of course. Why would I not know what the folio is? But
So you're aware that the folio is a set of written records, a story, a play, if you will, about a certain place.
his face clearly has no idea. But yes, of course. Why would I? Yes, that's why I need my king's folio.
Well, all of the pieces here within this creature, I'm going to stab one with my dagger, kind of pull it out of the ink, where you can kind of see some of the words, are connected to a story that exists in a folio of its own.
So I know this is Caesar, and obviously I'm from the backstages, as you called it.
Yes.
I'm assuming I would have seen peaks of different.
Yes.
So
You exist again. Fairy time is weird. Their clock has like 13 hands. It's all yeah. Things don't work linearly for fairies. So the name Caesar you recognize as the Caesars, whoever is in charge of that. What's the name of that city state? Rome. Yeah, it's a story about an important Roman guy.
But the kid yesterday was talking about, the guard was talking about with Rome. So
Yeah. So you're just like right. Yeah, Rome.
yeah, it is what it is. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, would I recognize that it's also, because you didn't say Caesar, would I recognize Caesar someone or two? Or no?
Yeah. Especially off of your investigation, you'd see the word Caesar.
Yes, I was noticing it. It had references to that Roman Caesar guy that some people found important.
Yeah, good.
But are you telling me that this is a folio?
I know that there must be a connection. I believe that there must be a connection.
I believe that maybe you're right. These guys are. I use my staff to turn the guy over, so he's now facing like face down.
Yeah.
When I'm doing that, is he still? This is gonna sound weird. Does he feel like he stays like solid, or is it starting to like kind of break apart? Not the sleeping one, but the dead one.
The dead one. When you stick your thing in its
Staff.
the
It's a
staff,
not just
the staff just goes it just goes through it.
Ooh.
And then when you pull it back out, it's this long, icky, like ichor trail of ink. with strands of burnt parchment poking out of it. That smells like a paper mill. Which, if you've ever smelled what a paper mill smells like, it's the worst smell you could imagine.
Tacoma, Washington.
Okay, there you go.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I will also add, as a visual arts teacher, many people do not know that paint and ink can spoil.
Oh, yeah.
And black is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, spoiled black paint, whether it be tempera, acrylic, or ink, oh, it's so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't need that sensory.
It can get like a pudding. You can get like a pudding skin,
Hey, stop.
like a jet black pudding skin.
I'm gonna need you to stop.
Okay.
Get nasty.
Yeah. So you now you poke through it and it just pulls out this trail, and the dead one you can't.
Ugh.
When you try to knock it over, it just. Bleh, bleh, bleh.
I do not think he is fully solid. I think somebody made these. These do not feel natural to me. They don't. They do not come from the Feywild Isles. The backstage with me. It's. I believe someone was very angry making these. I take my staff and I'm assuming there's like some real fancy banners.
Mm-hmm.
Very expensive. I start using the banner to try to clean off the nasty.
At this point, about like 99% of the people have fled. Right? We've found out that the lady of the house is apparently dead. A fireball exploded in the center of the dance floor. A half-naked halfling summoned like gigantic tree roots to smack these things. You don't have a face. So at this point, the only people that are left in this room are guards, and they are not paid enough to care about what you're doing.
Yeah.
They saw that you guys killed these things, and even though you guys look weird, they're like, we're not. This is fairy businessman.
So
Yeah.
Whatever. If Rosalind says take them out, we'll take them out. But ain't me.
Yeah.
So it's truly a Panic at a Disco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, definitely.
Jeez.
Blood on the dance floor. Yeah.
A ballroom blitz, if you will.
Okay.
Proud of myself for this one.
Yeah. I'm going to tell Moth, I said, Moth, I don't think there's any value in keeping this thing alive, for lack of a better term. We know it can burn. We know it can take physical damage. We want to just... We may face these again, and it's nice to know what hurts it.
Hoppers, if you will. Hoppers just jumps up, takes a staff.
Yeah. This thing is prone asleep. Hoppers, it was already like not doing super hot. Yeah, Hoppers will just 100%.
So you're saying Hoppers saved the day. I'm just
Yeah,
that's 2 for 2.
Hoppers spear
Gets all the experience points.
stabs into the back of this thing's neck, and much like the other ones, it spasms a little bit. And there's this like sloppy, wet sound as this thing sort of flails on the tile, until it eventually stops moving and it's gone.
Just to confirm, point of order. Were the parchment specs in both Julius Caesar?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
From what you saw from on all of them,
Okay.
from the burnt one, and the one that Hoppers just stabbed.
Okay. right.
There it all seems to be pieces of Julius
All right.
Caesar.
I think that Yorick would... He has a deep belief that everything is here and pointed in the right direction, and he trusted Dark Script and we're going the right way. I think that he would probably want to seek out maybe a Shadow Player contact in House Capulet. And now that this is kind of resolved, his mind is thinking about Rosalind. He's like, that was very powerful individual. He says, and so I think the connection may go there. I think that he would have a contact in the house.
He would. We'll go ahead and his contact in this house is the one that got him the job in the dishwashing position. The head chef.
Okay.
Is put in a good word for a glamored Yorick in order to get a position, so that way he had a place to stay while he was waiting for Digger to update him on his next goal.
Okay.
All
right.
While after he had made his way through the backstage, past the pastorals and into Verona proper, from where you were raised, which was back home in Denmark.
Okay. I think I would tell Moth that we need to go see if we can track down a contact and go from there.
How are you going to get to the head chef? Because you know that where the head chef currently is with that one.
Yeah. No, I know that there's issues that are going back through in there, and
I'm on the warpath.
yeah. Man, I don't even know. I wouldn't even know where to go. I think that looking around, seeing that most people had cleared out, York's good about staying hooded when he has to. This is a pretty quick conversation, and most eyes were on the one casting the fireball. So I think he would probably. I'm going to go ahead and do a disguise self.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go back to my established position there at the house.
Gotcha.
And you just see kind of York kind of do his verbal spinning and wave his hand. And his entire business changes to just a young teenage boy.
Yeah. You transition to a blind spot from the guards, step in as York, and then step out as a scullery boy. Barely like 19 pimples on your face, red hair, with a moth kind of just standing there.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at Moth and I'm gonna say, "Don't worry, it's me."
You look like. Are you brothers with the guard outside?
No, Moth, it's me, Yorick. This is just what I have the ability to blend in from time to time. I'm gonna see if we can find out a few things back here in the kitchen.
Why is your voice cracking?
Okay, maybe we should see if the scary lady is okay.
I'm a late bloomer.
You head into the kitchen to a flurry of activity. At this point, Rosalind is barking orders, telling people who to go where, when to go what. And you see this guy and this guy step into the kitchen. What's your response to that?
What now? Who are you?
I just the dishwasher.
I mean, I came in to save your life. I just wanted to see if you're okay.
I vaguely remember you.
As soon as they start talking, I was like, I'm gonna excuse myself.
Oh, no. You stay right here.
Go ahead. You roll deception with advantage. You roll investigation. Or perception, whichever one you prefer.
Oh, we'll do perception. That is a 20.
30.
Ooh!
Wow.
Shoot.
Dang, okay. Yeah, so you're suspicious
Dang, sir.
of the tiny teenage boy. However, oh man, is he milking this for all that it's worth. You see essentially just a shrimpy, like, young man that has not yet come into his own. You have no idea how he got hired. You don't remember him on the staff, but at this point, you don't really care.
Like, wow, I just stepped out to take a break, and now I come back into this. What's happening?
Okay.
Scoob!
Okay, Scoop. That's what I was thinking. That's all I could think of, Scoop.
Like Zoinks, man!
What's your name, kid?
My name is. I'm sorry, Lady Capulet.
Oh my God, I just asked your name. I didn't ask for you to pee yourself. What's your name?
My name is Morgan.
Morgan, sit over there.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I check the floor as he's walking away for pee. I don't want to step in it.
Roll.
She
How
said it. I'm
convincing
just.
do you want this to be?
That's how good my deception was.
So I'm just afraid. I didn't say it happened. I'm afraid of it happening now.
Oh no, that's what sold it.
What is your name, halfling?
Oh, okay, we call it ourselves halflings, but you can't really call us halflings. It's not really nice.
I'm sorry. My any sense of formality is out the window right now, considering that, like, my mom's 2 steps away from death. I just had these 2 random gross things just come at me. Also, thank you. But what is what do I properly call you?
Yeah, the second she said that you said that your mom was almost died, he like all of a sudden got like much more just like, ooh, I shouldn't have said it. My name is Moth, ma'am. I'm sorry. I saw the attacks and I just wanted to help. I just
Moth,
hey, yes, Moth.
like the bug with wings.
You guys have a bugs with wings? They call moths? That's kind of rude. It's my name.
Fairies. Okay. Well, Moth, thank you for attempting to help save my life.
You can take hoppers.
At which point, a tiny frog wielding a spear steps up from behind him,
And
then just the perfect like hop two. His heels click together, but they more squish together. And he stamps his spear on the ground.
He stands very tall, by the way. It's just straight.
Yeah,
Oh.
just stretches himself. It's still a frog, but it's a frog on 2 feet, standing up, wielding a spear, and puffs out his throat in a show of trying to make himself look big and important.
I don't know if I want to run away screaming or reach over and hug you because you're so adorably ugly.
Maybe.
Oh. A frog saved my life. Okay. What other wacky adventures are we going to have today? Moth, how did you get in?
I did not walk behind your guard's back on the way in.
You did. Oh, Moth. Okay. Moth, why did you come to my party uninvited?
Well, I was given a very important quest. I just like come right out with it. I was given a very important quest from the queen. I need to find a folio. I'm sure you know what the folio is. Everyone knows. I know. I definitely know what the folio is. So I was looking for a folio for my king, and you guys had this big extravagant party. I love the shoulder pads, by the way, just so you know. And I figured that the closest thing to finding someone who would know what they're doing is to follow the fancy. And I followed the fancy, and I'm here at your party looking for my folio.
I just take a second and just that's so much information to get thrown at me that I'm still holding the bottle going. Someone tried to poison my mom.
Can I see that?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
take it. I do a quick little investigation, see if it's anything that I.
Yeah. Go ahead and you can roll investigation or medicine.
As I've successfully removed myself from the eye, this conversation is happening. I would definitely want to scan everybody in the kitchen for their reactions to the poison talk.
Yeah.
Specifically, when I hear that, I would just looking around to see.
Everyone is beside themselves on this, and looks sad and a little despondent. Go ahead and roll perception for me.
That's a 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that 9, you sort of you can't. There's enough people moving about that you're having a hard time getting a bead on names, numbers, faces, things that kind of thing in order to determine if there's something off.
All right.
I rolled an 18 on investigation.
That's big poison.
Is there anything new that I could add to that maybe
Yes.
she didn't on her own?
What you can add from this is that whoever made this has access to flora and fauna that are not from here.
Would they be-
Whatever made this poison, you are able to parse from this. This kind of sleeping drought that you have. It's been used by fairies before. It's part of a common prank is you make someone think that a loved one died, then you make them think that a loved one died, or a mortal insults you, so you slip them this, they go into a sleep, and then you tell some mortal the only way to wake them is with true love's kiss, and really all you're doing is you're just casting a cantrip or something silently whenever some hunky mortal comes over and then lays a big one on on whoever's sleeping, and then you let that play out and see if that relationship lasts. Spoiler alert: about 80% of the time it does work out. So really, that's better than average for most regular meet cutes. So you guys honestly kind of pat yourself on the back.
I love the idea that all of Disney is just like fairies messing
It's just
around
Oh,
with
yeah.
people.
everybody
100%.
playing pranks.
So as soon as I look at this, I start busting up laughing. It's this room of all serious people, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, you know, he's just losing it laughing. He's
Yeah.
like, they got you. Oh, you, they got you with the good joke. You thought she was dead, didn't you? Oh.
If she's not dead, then go wake her up.
It takes true love's first kiss.
I have never wanted to set something on fire more than I do with your tiny laughing bottom.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just how do I put this? This is a very joke item. Yes. Yeah. How do you mortals do it? You use a whoopee cushion. It's like whoopee cushion, but more funny.
You do know that we mortals don't find this funny, right?
He is absolutely flabbergasted right now. What?
Because when you love somebody and you think they die, mortals, when we die, we don't come back. So if we think someone is dead, then it's a sad thing for us.
Yes, but then they're back. It's like pop goes the weasel. Your loved one's back.
Sometimes. And then other times you think they're dead, so you move on with your life and you live with the grief of knowing that they're never coming back, and you don't know that they came back.
Well, you're saying there's a hypothetical situation where somebody finds a loved one dead, tries to drink the goblet, but the goblet's empty, so they stab themselves with a sword to join their loved one that's dead?
Well, I wish that
That's-
were hypothetical, but that was my cousin.
Ooh, bad timing.
Yes. Very.
It always feels good as a GM when you set up a joke and you're just like layup, and then your players are just like, swish, baby, let's go! 2 points off the backboard.
Okay, how do I put this? Your mother is fine, and she probably maybe pissed off a fairy or someone who's friends with a fairy. So it could either be a very serious situation where you have an enemy with a fairy friend, or a funny situation where you're another fairy got bored, I guess. So it's somewhere in between.
Another fairy. I don't know who would be enemies with us. We're pretty. Oh.
The realization.
Yeah.
Well, there's yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know what to do next now, except for.
Have you made a list of your enemies?
Oh, I keep a running list of enemies.
Oh,
I do everything out of love and spite and revenge. Duh.
that's. He just ponders for a second, like that's a wide range.
Well, I have a lot of behaviors, but
You-
those are the three big motivators: love, spite, revenge. Love, spite, revenge. Wash, rinse, repeat.
Just kind of accept it. Makes sense.
I mean, I shot off a fireball in my own house. Do you think I don't make emotional decisions? I make emotional decisions all the time.
Hey.
Love, spite, revenge.
Yorick, go ahead and roll a perception check.
All right. Let's go with this one here. 17.
All right. They started having this conversation. You stopped paying attention. And then when he started laughing and you heard fairy come out of his mouth, you see a person who was working on something. They were gathering up their stuff, trying to clean up because party's over. And you see them turn. And it's a face you recognize. It's another person who's worked in the kitchen before. The problem is about 30 feet away from them, coming from upstairs, a person with the exact same face turns around carrying a tray and looking down. one that is now very hurriedly gathering their stuff and is now attempting to walk past you, while the other person with the same face. They're both feminine looking, brown hair, kind of mousy, but sharing the same face. And you haven't worked in these kitchens long. You know who would have a twin. Ain't these two?
Okay. All right. With my check, I have no idea who.
On who?
Like which one's real?
Oh, on which one's real?
Yeah, I'm like.
I'll say for this one, what kind of skills do you have as a bard?
Well,
do you have something that might be relevant for figuring this out?
I have the acting feat. I think I would like to see who's acting.
Ah, okay. Yeah, roll perception with advantage on this.
Okay. Ooh, 18, 21.
21. On the 21, the one that's hurriedly gathering their stuff.
I'm gonna attack. I'm gonna cast Detect Thoughts.
Yeah, you notice on that one that this person has freckles on their face. The one on the top, they're in the pattern you recognize, but on the bottom, you now notice they're reversed. This person is a mirror image.
Okay.
And upon doing that, you detect thoughts, and their thought is, the only thought you had is, I need to run, I need to get out, they need to not find out it was me, oh my god, this is so bad, I'm going to be in so much trouble, I need to get out of here, oh my god.
I'm just going to keep an eye on them and clock them, and I'm going to follow if they leave.
They're leaving out the door as soon as
Okay.
your thoughts are being detected.
All right. Yes, I'm going to step out, and if I see a, oh, man, I'm burning spell slots. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna follow.
Okay.
Just gonna follow.
They need to roll perception to see if they detect you following them. I'm assuming you're trying to keep enough of a distance
Sure.
that
Yes.
you don't necessarily trigger any. Let's see. We want you. Ooh, yeah, no, okay. Yeah, they're in such a hurry that they do not perceive you.
Okay.
As you are following them. They make their way out into that back alleyway that you and Digger were having that conversation in.
Okay.
But instead of hanging right where Moth came from, they hang left to continue further uptown, past heading towards the. Let me look at my fancy dancy map. Heading east, away from the main river that splits Verona, and heading out towards Verona's pastorals.
Okay.
That's the only thing of note that's over there. The Capulet Manor is the last larger infrastructure that's over here. The rest is all essentially suburban neighborhoods until it eventually breaks out into farmland and pastoral.
Okay. So at this point, how's other than me and the person I'm following, who else is around?
With that perpetual dusk, the streets always have some amount of activity. Things, however, are thinned out. And the problem happens when as you realize that they're stepping out of that balcony of that alley, they're going to be heading into a crowd because everyone that was in the party has exited out, and some are still meandering around the streets wondering what they're going to do now. Are people going to be let back in now that everything's been cleaned up? Should we go home? That kind of thing. So now you recognize that there is a crowd that they can slip into.
Okay. So still being disguised as the kitchen help, I'm just going to grab the bag off my belt and say, "Oh, gee, you left so fast, you forgot this. You left this." I'm kind of like jogging behind her, just kind of casually.
No, I didn't. That's not mine.
No, I certainly is. And as I get close enough, what I want to do is I want to drop my disguise self, kind of grow about a foot taller to my, still hooded, but look up so they see my skull face, and I want to use my unsettling presence on them.
Oh. Oh.
You're gonna, so that's a bonus to intimidation?
That would be, actually, it would be, they have disadvantage on their next saving throw.
Oof. Okay.
Dang.
And then... Yeah?
speaking of next saving throw, if I have time to do it before they react, I want to cast Zone of Truth.
Okay. You are at this point about 10 to 15 feet away from them, and they turn around to try to chastise you, to tell you to stop following them, so that way they can split into the crowd. They're about another 15 or so feet away from that alleyway entrance when your disguise drops. Their face goes bleach white. And they get into a stance whenever you cast Zone of Truth. And they start looking around, and they are going to roll a dexterity check to Z jump up the wall.
Okay.
Full Jackie Chan style.
Parkour.
That one.
Right?
Let's see. This is, I will admit, a very difficult thing that they're attempting to do, but they don't have a lot of options because this is before fire escapes were a thing. So they can't really do that. But let's look at this stat block to see what their athletics / wow, that's not as good as I thought it was. Cool. Yeah. They make the first jump, and then on that second jump, they scramble, attempting to climb away, as you close in the distance and your Zone of Truth takes hold.
Are they higher than 15 foot?
No.
Okay. So
They've begun to they've
Okay.
slid it. They've slowed it. They slid back down.
So whether it affects them or not is a charisma saving throw with disadvantage because of the unsettling presence.
Fortunately, that's why we always keep it back up D20. Dang it. Oh, okay. That's not that bad. The first roll was a 20. And the second roll was not a 20. It was a number. What's your save?
16.
16? Okay. I'm going to be one of those GMs, and I'm going to say, cool, ask your question. See if it ends up being whether or not they passed or not.
Yeah. I'm just going to look up and say, who are you? Just simply, who are you?
They sort of stare you in the eye, still obviously very freaked out, and they say, Robin Goodfellow, King of the Forest, as they attempt to jostle past you. And what you now go ahead and roll perception on that statement.
Okay. 14.
14, obvious lie. That whatever your Zone of Truth didn't put a stop to them. And they are going to roll that athletics. Go ahead. They're going to try and jostle past you. Give me either your own acrobatics or your own athletics check.
Or your bardic strength check.
That's not good.
That's a 9.
Okay. Well, they rolled an 8. So.
Oh no!
Wow.
So I did a 9 acrobatics.
Yeah. So they attempt to jostle past you, and it's sort of this funny thing where the way they do it is very rushed and haphazard. And you thinking that with the visage and everything, and that they're obviously scared, they wouldn't attempt to do something like this. You reach out and grab them as they're running, and they sort of spin you as the slimy, wet floor of the alleyway sort of allows you to do a full spin. And you're now actively pursuing them, and we're in a chase. But you are keeping up pace with them as they're attempting to exit the other way out of the alley.
Okay. All right. I'm aware that they lied to me, even
Yeah.
in the Zone of Truth. Okay, I was worried they were telling the truth. All right. Yeah, I'll pursue
Okay.
until I lose them.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and I get to look up chase rules because I haven't gotten to use these a whole lot, and they're neato.
They can be fun, actually.
Yes.
I was just about to say, let's take that one out of rotation, and then
No. They come around.
Yeah, I want to get one of those dice jails. The
Yeah, I've
dice
seen
dunce
those.
chairs.
Yeah. Dice jail.
It's literally the only reason I bring more than just the 2 sets a day.
These guys have been around for 20 years.
I'm gonna touch all your dice.
Need to
take
touch 'em.
all the good luck out of him.
Okay. Currently, you are, with how this is going, before the chase officially starts, you are technically close enough that if you attempted to either grapple them or bind them with something, you could theoretically stop them before the chase even begins.
Okay. All right. I think based on size right now, I would just try to grab.
Okay. Roll grapple.
Okay.
So for you, it's athletics. They will go ahead and take acrobatics to see if they can dodge out.
12.
6. You successfully grab them in a rear naked choke as they attempt to get out. Being a full foot taller, you're able to grab them and just like lift them off the ground. They're kicking and they're doing everything they can. It's like, no, let me go! Don't eat me!
First thought.
Foul spirit, no!
Be gone, demon.
Jeez. I would say, who are you?
And go ahead and roll intimidation.
Okay. 25.
On a 25, they're going to stop, and they're going to say, if I tell you everything, will you please let me go?
Yes.
They're going to roll a perception here. Okay, cool. I'm going to say they rolled a 10 on whether to tell whether or not you're lying about that statement.
Okay.
I'm not going to know what kind of roll you had, and you can just tell me off of a 10 whether or not they can tell whether you're lying or not.
Okay.
You roll for truth or roll for deception, whichever one.
Yeah, so persuasion or deception, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Just tell me the number. Don't tell me which one you used.
25.
25? Okay. They're going to assume that you are telling the truth then. My name is Anna. I was hired to tamper with the lady's wine. I did not know what it would do. I was told to simply put the powder in the bottle and recork it before the party started. That was it.
I'm actually going to release my grasp as they finish kind of telling me. And I'm going to say, who hired you?
She sort of stops and sort of looks at you, and then you see her face shimmer as her glamour goes away, and you see instead of the more mousy look she had before, you see pale, like light green skin with long elven ears. And her whole stature changes as well. She grows about 6 inches taller at that, and looks far thinner at this point. Very obvious elven characteristics. And she sort of stutters and says, I was hired by the master of a rival house. He has something very important to me that I have been told to go get. He gave me the plan and told me to act on it. That is all.
I'm going to say Anna, correct?
Yes.
Anna. Your skills are good. Find better employers.
I had no choice.
I understand.
They have.
I'm going to pull my hood up as she's talking.
And then she sort of mimics you and does the same because she realizes she doesn't have her glamour. They have my brother. I don't know how. We came from the pastorals a couple months ago. hadn't been to a human city before. Um, the court is currently in tumult. The queen said that whoever finds the folio, she will appoint to her personal attendants. So I started looking. I didn't think I'd ever actually get close. And then, well, I didn't find what I was looking for, but I found something far worse. He has my brother. I don't know what to do.
Who is he? He who? Who has your brother?
I don't know his name. He calls himself Ben. He's not from here. I don't know where he's from, but he came to Verona and is trying to, I don't know, get something. I don't know, but he wants whatever they, and she sort of gestures to the Capulet house, have. And he said that if I helped him get it, my brother and I would be free, and I could go back home. I just want to go back home.
Says Anna, I have recently had contact with another who serves your queen.
Who?
Moth.
Oh. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank goodness. Oh. She is looking out for us. Okay, if Moth is here, then I feel far less worried about the state of my brother. Moth.
Wait. Moth makes you feel less worried?
That was my first thought.
Moth, by fairy standards, you're considered kind of a big deal. You're a personal attendant of the queen.
I get a repeat with everyone else.
Yeah. She's like, well, he's a personal attendant to the queen. If he's here, then that means she must have sent him, which means she must be looking out.
And he is working with me.
Oh.
And are you aware of the Dark Brotherhood? Dark Players, sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say, Skyrim?
Are you aware
Right?
We know.
Are you aware of the Dark Players?
Oh, they're those spooky humans that go around and mess with other humans.
You don't get much more spooky than this.
Oh. I thought you were like, okay, that makes more sense.
Sure.
Most of us don't like to look scary on purpose.
You've been in this and on this trail for a while. I think that Moth would be very interested to know what you have learned.
Okay.
Would you accompany me back to find him?
You promise I won't get in trouble for possibly killing the queen? Or not for killing the lady?
I can promise you that information would not come from me.
Okay. Should I look not like this?
Yes, but when you disguise yourself, don't choose someone else who is there. You need a. Sorry, we've trained for this for a long time.
Fair.
You don't just copy someone who's still there.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. And so she reapplies her glamour. This time, she takes away the freckles. The hair is black. Changes the eye color to a dark brown. And gives herself a bit of a fuller figure. A little bit more statuesque. And then says like this.
Perfect. I will go ahead and cast Disguise Self as well and return to my dish boy facade. I said, let's return slowly and carefully. We need to play out and see. When I left, Moth was having a direct conversation with young Lady Capulet.
Okay.
But we will approach with caution.
Okay.
And we'll start making our way back towards the house.
At this point, you and Moth have sort of sat down. They brought in chairs for you, and he sort of explained more about like this poison and everything. And at this point, the apothecary that is a part of your family's retinue is also sitting with you and is patiently explaining to you both um, how this potion like would have been made, why it tastes like, how it works. It's very very dry. You're trying your best to be patient because you're trying to see if maybe there's something to glean out of this. And despite the fact that he's like old, he's also probably the only one on the staff that could make your mom wake up again. So you're trying your very best to be on your best behavior. Well, you see, the difference between the chrysanthemum and the anti-chrysanthemum allows it so that way whenever the tincture comes into contact with one's salivary glands, that it then... Sorry, miss, I have a bit of a cold.
No, please go on, sir. This is riveting
I'm
information.
So glad. You're always so patient with me. Patient.
Oh, I am always happy to listen and be entertained by you, sir. But
I need
perhaps...
to take my mercury 1 second.
Oh, okay.
I just leaned over. I think this is literal hell.
You know what? I agree with you, Moth. Sir, yeah. Due to the timeliness of Mother ingesting the wine, perhaps we might be able to rush through a bit of this information, just a tad.
Yes, I suppose what I am trying to say is the only way to wake your mother up is to find the apothecary that crafted the potion or bomb or tincture or powder that afflicted her and allow them to process an anti-venom using whatever processes they made it, but in reverse. For if I were to attempt to do it without knowing the proper ratios, I would perhaps put your mother in some sort of cardiac state, or worse, kill her entirely, or maybe even put her in some sort of anaphylaxis.
Oh, boy.
Now, do I, since we use it as pranks all the time, I was going to ask this before we switch to the other scene. Do I know of like an easier way to actually get rid of it? Because I know we tell mortals like it's true as first kiss, but do we have it, or is it
You
it the same?
do, but it comes from a spell. Oh, what's your spell list?
Come on. I'm assuming you don't care about my my cantrips.
I might. It depends on what the cantrip is.
Okay, I have Create Bonfire, Eldritch Blast, Mage Hand, Mind Sliver, Minor Illusion, Prestidigitation, and then I have Charm Person, Counterspell, Fly, Plant Growth, Sleep, and Summon Feint. I swear to God, I was this close to doing Dispel. I was this close. I'm telling you, I'm guessing that's what you wanted me to have.
It's one of the ones that could have been flavored properly. But alas, you do not have it. There is magic for it. You don't have the magic that strips it away.
Okay.
Like you don't know it. But there are, you know that it is basically the fairy version of an apothecary would be the one that would disenchant the person. And of course, Titania or Oberon or any of the other like upper crust fairies would be able to just do it at a whim. They wouldn't even need a spell slot for it, just an ability they have.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes.
Thank you. You have always been so wonderfully helpful to our family. If you'd like, you can take your leave.
Very well, ma'am. Please. And then he opens his, like, very slowly opens his robe and, like, pulls out a tiny little pill box, and then hands it to you. For you to sleep tonight. You have had a rough day, and mayhaps a little bit of chemically induced aid will help prevent the nightmares. And then he puts it in your hand and then gently folds it in and then taps and then slowly shuffles his way out of the kitchen. Just like the tiniest, most elderly locomotive you've ever seen. Just slide one foot, slide one foot, slide one foot.
I would not eat that one if I were you.
I don't think it is what he thinks it is. I will just save this for someone else later. I feel like it could come in handy. And I don't take sleeping pills anyway. So how do I find the person that made this?
He actually stops and thinks for a second. I guess it really depends. You know, we don't know. We have to figure out if you are targeted in anger or if you are targeted in fun. As we said, some people like to use it, but if you're making enemies, let's assume it's a bad thing. Who would have the biggest vendetta against your mother specifically?
Against my mother?
Specifically.
Well, I would say anybody from the Montague house, specifically Lord Montague.
Does that mean anything to me? Montague? Probably not. Okay, cool.
You've heard the name in the streets, so you assume
kinda
it's
what I was
another
thinking.
well-to-do family.
I think they had a thing, and they weren't supposed to have a thing, and he's been bitter ever since she married my father. It's just gossip, but
Ooh.
I know. Salacious. But that's the first person I could think of that come to mind. Oh my goodness, our nurse. Hear me out. Our wet nurse, our nurse, Juliet's nurse, my nurse, Tybalt's nurse. She raised all of us, but she and my mom did not see eye to eye so much after Juliet passed away. My mom blamed her a lot. I'm just saying, for trying to make a list of suspects,
So you have
those are two.
you have a woman of healing that just is water all over her? Is that what you're saying? She's just permanently wet?
No, a wet nurse for us mortals. Well, when you are of a certain echelon, you don't actually breastfeed your own children.
That's about whenever you and
He's like, please stop this.
it's that point in the conversation. Whenever that conversation starts happening.
Okay, so coming into the room, what is the scene as far as who all's here other than?
It's just these two,
Okay.
and the only ones that are left in the kitchen. The kitchen's been cleared out. There's tea that's been left out, along with like some finger foods for the two of them to snack on while they continue this conversation. The head chef is probably pattering in and out periodically,
Okay.
just to check up on them, and also because he's, so he was trying to keep appraised of the situation, but trying not to appear like he's too overly interested in what's going on.
Okay.
But so far it's just them.
All right. So I'm going to come back in. I'm still in my disguise. I'm going to say, hey, Moth, I found someone that I think you might want to talk to.
Morgan, where did you go? I asked you to sit down somewhere else for like a few minutes, and off you go.
That was rude.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm going to look around and see, if I can confirm that we're alone. Say, Lady Capulet, I apologize for any shock this may cause. But I'm going to drop my disguised self and just kind of morph back up into
Oh my.
the person that got fireballed.
Oh, I fireballed you?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's where his skin went.
Yes.
You took his skin.
No, that is not correct. Funny, but not correct. That's.
I love your hood, but oh my.
And so Anna's with me.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say, Lady Capulet, my name is York. I am an operative of the Dark Players. I am working with Moth.
The dark I have dark players in my house?
There are dark players in every house, lady.
Oh, I've heard of you. I didn't think it was an actual thing. Oh my.
Not all, in fact, none look like me. But then again, we can look like what we want to look like. Moth, this is Anna. She serves your queen. She is on the same quest you are on and has information that I think we may all need to hear.
You look like a human, though.
And she sort of like seeing as you dropped yours, she drops her glamour as well. And
more
you
surprises.
And you see the green skin, very thin, big pointy ears, bigger than yours, which raises some questions for you. because you thought that that was just a odd thing. You keep your hair to not really show them off, but seeing that, you're like, so you.
I'm immediately gonna start like touching my ears, like.
And
Excuse
see,
me?
Okay.
Finally, some culture around here. Thank you.
Hi, your eminence. She bows to you, and then
Your
she just sort of- She
Eminence!
just sort of waves at you. Hello, and then she just sort of bows at Moth.
I'm gonna lean in. I'm gonna say that one surprises me too.
So,
He's half naked.
I'm also half clothed.
so a very bad man took my brother, and he made me do a thing that I wasn't supposed to do. And I think he maybe knows where the folio is.
Whoa. Hold on.
I whispered it. You couldn't hear me. I whispered it.
You didn't whisper like small enough. It's what we call a stage whisper when everybody's still. Get your people together and teach them how to whisper.
What do you mean, you people?
It's not a thing we do.
Okay. Who is the bad man and what is the bad thing that you did?
I don't want to say the bad thing that I did, but
I need to know.
well, the bad man's name is the only name he gave me was Ben. He was old, and he had a beard, and he was wearing like this really ugly like purple cloak. It wasn't like, it's just purple. It didn't have any filigree or anything on it.
So boring.
Yeah, it's just kind of boring.
I agree with you on that statement.
And the way that he talked was just so. Everything he was saying, it was like he thought he was smarter than you and better than you, and it was really annoying.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. So yeah, he says that he's not from here, but that he needed to use me because he didn't want to stay in a den of sin for as long as he had to.
Well.
Which, honestly, I don't get. Verona seems nice. I love the riverfront. It's beautiful.
Okay, but what was the bad thing that you did?
I don't
I'm
want to
gonna,
say.
or York's gonna interject here just to kind of keep this going as long as possible because he really wants some information before the bad thing comes out.
Yeah.
He's leaning. He goes, He's just leaning to Moth. Moth. She's been on the trail of the folio and has tracked it to someone named Ben, who definitely has, I would say, ill will towards your family.
I'm not getting off this. What was the bad thing that you did?
He said I didn't have to say.
He does not run this house and you're in my house. What is the bad thing that you did? Just come out with it.
She pulls out a little piece of paper, and then she writes it down.
Did you just eat that piece of tree?
Because no, she knows, because I technically told her.
Moth.
And then she just like goes over and gets some tea. Why? I thought it was a plant, so it would taste like plant. It just tastes like dry and sad.
It's a weird process they do to the tree. They take the trees and they kill them and they write on them. They don't do the writing in the air. It's so weird.
It tasted gross.
Moth.
Yes.
Would you please find out from her what it is that she did? I'm not going to be satisfied until I know.
Do I have an idea at this point? Like, am I like because I know her? Am I like connecting it or
you,
no?
Go ahead and roll. Okay. You can either roll perception to see if you can put 2 and 2 together on this, or you can try to persuade her to just tell you without her hearing.
24 in persuasion.
Okay. You sort of like gesture for her, and she sort of just like gets over, and then she sort of just whispers in your ear, and then tells you that she's the one that totally poisoned her mom. But she didn't know that that's what would happen. She thought it was just going to be a funny little prank at worst. Like, she knew it was probably going to be bad, but she didn't think it was going to make her all crying and stuff, and that's why she felt so bad and why she tried to run away.
It's okay. It was a funny joke.
That's what I thought.
Right, yeah. These villains, they have no sense of
Oh, for saints, you don't know how to whisper. Why do you even try?
Okay, so here's the deal. You remember when we you remember when we said that we like to joke?
Let me guess. This was the joke time.
Ta-da!
You poisoned my mother.
I didn't mean to.
It's not funny.
I
It was
didn't
an
think it was
accident.
gonna be funny either. He just said to put the thing in the thing. He said he just gave me a little envelope that had the powder, and then he gave me the stuff to reseal the cork along with a new cork, and then I just, when no one was looking, popped the bottle off of the wine that she always drank, poured the thing in, and resealed it and
Did
put
he-
it back.
Did he give you another envelope with powder by chance?
No, he just gave me the one. Although I don't know why he did it then. I don't know why he didn't make me. I guess probably because I said I didn't like the man at the counter.
Who was the man at the counter?
The man at the counter where he bought the powder from.
Where did he? Oh, this is the most frustrating. And I'm like trying to like keep my annoyance and frustration from getting the better of me. And I'm like, okay, where? Flames on the side of my face. What counter? Where did he get this?
The man at the counter where you buy the powders from. You know, the ones that people take whenever they don't feel good, or whenever they need to get rid of rats, or
Yeah, I think it's
what's
called
the
an
name?
apothecary here.
Yeah,
Yeah. I got you.
apothecary.
See,
He got it
it's
from
that
an
simple, duh.
apothecary.
There
It was
are
a-
6 of them in the city.
No, the one near the one across the river, right below where the arena is. You know where the big arena is? The one that's like right down there in like the very stinky part of town.
Oh.
I walked through that.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't know why you humans are so gross.
Don't clump me in.
Look, they even wear shoes to separate from the grossness.
I know it's weird, and they do this thing called sweating.
Okay.
It's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard of. Liquid comes out of their face.
Yorick says, "Yeah, I don't miss that at all."
Ugh. I'm not going to be dressed down from somebody who's half naked and a child who can't manage to tell the difference from right and wrong.
Hey, I'm.
And she's
And
still
she takes
counting.
off a shoe and she starts.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, to
I'm
be
like 78 by human years.
Oh, which means still very young in Fae time. Got it.
I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of you're kind of still pretty young, but
I
it's
mean,
okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, you're under 100. Let's be.
I
Let's,
just read it's so old enough to go out and
Wait.
see stuff.
Wait. So you got the materials at the apothecary on that side of town.
Yeah.
wow.
And Ben, how'd you do this? Because he also is on a quest for a folio?
Oh, I have no clue. I was looking for the folio and
But why were you looking for the folio?
because Oberon is asleep and won't wake up, and so the queen wants the folio to wake Oberon back up.
That's what I told you earlier. Well, you. Then.
Someone put it so that's the only thing that could make something like Oberon go to sleep for that long. Something like a folio. So the queen put out a thing, and that if anyone can find the folio for him, then they get to join the court.
Okay.
I had no idea that you can just join us like that.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do it, Mr. Moth, sir.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
What if we don't exactly want to join the court, but instead we would just like our mother to be back and healthy?
I mean, she'd definitely probably do that if you brought the folio. Even then, a person high enough in the court would be able to just order another fairy to do it if they have the power.
Uh-huh.
Also, didn't that skeleton say you could just go back to the same apothecary? Can't we just go talk to that guy?
Let's try that option first. And if that doesn't work, then I kind of move my hair around my ears a little bit. And if that doesn't work, then we look for the stupid folio.
It's not really a stupid folio.
It's kind of really a big deal and very important.
I am exhausted with you all.
I'm just saying, it's kind of like all of the backstage is a complete disarray.
It's kind of a big deal. I mean,
we're pretty sure it might be the reason why the lights are doing what they're doing.
Yorick is going to interject at this point after kind of, okay, he's pretty satisfied that information has come out and nobody sentenced anybody to death. He's
Not this time,
I
but
used to
keep
say,
tap dancing on my nerves.
Lady Capulet, if I might, this is larger than even these two or the Fey realm. I believe that the issues with the folios extend beyond their issue, but it's tied into something larger. And let me just say that the creatures that we defeated and attacked downstairs seem to have a connection as well to a different folio.
There are more?
There is one for every play, lady.
Oh, good God. Well, let's move on.
I'm gonna let you know that as an operative of the Dark Players and as an operative of the Fey Court, that we would very much like to officially join forces with House Capulet.
And not House Montague. That's kind of great. Oh, okay. Okay. If joining forces, as you call it, is a thing we have to do, that's fine.
I say,
But I have one request. Can we please put some pants on Moth?
what? I didn't agree to this. Fine, I will wear pants if I get shoulder pads.
I have a line of incredibly stylish shoulder pads.
Deal, but the abs stay out. I've worked way too hard on these.
I respect. I yes. I'm gonna run upstairs real quick, like pull up in the trunk and grab him some shoulder pads.
What do I do now?
Okay, you.
Me?
How long have you been looking for the folio?
A couple months.
What have you seen?
Honestly, nothing until the bad man found me and my brother, called us a word. Started with an A. Abscess? No. A plum? No. Abominations. That's the word. I don't know what it means.
Well, that's really rude.
He called us abominations, and said that our kind were ruining the human world.
Wow.
I know, right? So he then, I don't know how he did it. He had this like long thing, and it was really, really hard. Like, and it was shiny, and he wrapped it around my brother's neck. And then we couldn't get it off of him, and my brother just got so weak, and being around it made me feel weak too. And he said that he wouldn't let him go unless I did the thing.
Were you supposed to meet him afterwards?
No, he said that once he found out that... He said that after I did it, he would know, and I'm guessing when word gets out that what happened to your mom, then he'll know that I succeeded.
Okay, here's the thing. How many people were in the room with us when we found out that she wasn't dead?
At that point, just the head chef, you guys, Yorick, Anna, and about a dozen or so kitchen staff. But you're good.
Okay. Here's what we do. Can we track down everyone that was in the room? What we do is we tell everyone that she is dead. You choose a couple people that you trust to watch over her. But don't let anyone know that she didn't make it. We will get you back your brother. And then get out of this. This place is terrible. This is no place for you.
If I'm honest, the riverfront is rather nice, and I have caught a show or two at the arena, and it was really quite thrilling.
Isn't that what they stab lions in the arena, don't they?
Well, yeah, but there's also really good plays.
I don't know.
Also, they flooded it, and then they had like big wooden things on the water shooting cannons, and it was really cool.
That sounds so cool.
It's so cool.
Cool or not cool, since you are responsible for poisoning my mother, and you are
Sorry
the
again.
only person at this point who I can trust
Sorry.
around her, you will stand guard with my mother.
Okay, so in let's not call it poisoning. Let's call it the little whoopsie daisy. It's a little
A little oopsie boingo.
Oopsie. I will not
See Boingo.
call a poisoning oopsie boingo for my
A whoopsie daisy.
a little whoopsie daisy, if you will.
Martha and Anna. Anna,
With a C.
since
That's how you spell it.
since you have committed an oopsie boingo, as you've called it,
Hey,
to the head of my house,
Sorry.
I can't trust the head chef who's been in and out of this room. I can't trust anybody else. Will you stay with my mother?
I will keep watch over her. And then she takes on the not face stealing glamour she had before. But this time she's in like an outfit that's mimicking like the nurse's outfit. Yeah?
Acceptable.
Okay.
I'm going to look at Anna and say, Anna, if you need something, speak to the head chef and tell them Yorick told you to find him.
Okay.
You've been around a minute then, haven't you?
The dark player thing we talked about.
So who else is a dark player in my
Can't
house?
tell you. That's the whole point of the
Oh.
dark players.
you kind of just told her one of them, though. If we're, you know.
All the secrecy around here. My God.
I mean, from what I remember, whenever I heard about them, whenever there's war, that's where they show up. And you guys are at a war with a rival family.
She's not wrong.
I wonder how many they have. Anyway, I'm gonna go upstairs with your mom.
Welcome to the House of Capulet. We drop bombs in Lady Capulet's lap. Young Lady Capulet gets to find out all this random information when all I wanted to do was throw a party and get my lipstick line okayed.
Oh, you're that Lady Capulet. Well, now I feel really bad.
Why?
And then she sort of like doubles her her thing, and the shade changes on her lips to like the striking blue. Coral blue number 5. I absolutely adore it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you like it. I have a fan. I told you it was a tastemaker. Tastemaker!
And so she heads up upstairs. And it's now just you three in the kitchen.
Well, I assume right now would be the best thing to do. Anna seems like good people. I would trust Anna. We might want to go see about that the apothecary. See if that we can take care of it right there.
First stop, apothecary. Next stop, finding the folio.
Yes, I think that for the time being, our plots have merged. And until
I see what you
we
did there.
continue, and as long as we continue in the same path, we will work together.
I should warn you, I don't suffer idiocracy.
Oh, neither do I. Stupid people just
Yes, Moth, yes. Yes.
So you're going to this apothecary in a seedy part of Verona. Is there any particular plans you have on how you're going to approach this? Is there anything you'd want to do before you go over, some sort of prep before you start heading down to that part of the town?
Do we have time to put pants on, or are we just skipping that for now? Because I'm cool with skipping it. Moth is cool.
Definitely put those shoulder pads on.
I say, yeah, I guess it is. It's the trade-off. The shoulder pads are worth the pants. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now pantsed and shoulder padded.
I'll let you choose the shoulder pads.
Yes.
Gold.
With
Just
tassels?
these no tassels, no opulence with that. It's just straight, like this angular
Oh,
shoulder
I'm
pad
so
that
down.
fits around, like it like sits around your neck, like that. So it's like shoulder pads, but also like a bracing in the back of it.
I'm down with that.
Yes.
Sounds vaguely Time Lord esque.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
What do I feel like this is something that young Rosalind designed for a doll at one point?
Literally,
Yeah.
like a my-size Barbie, but
Yes.
like-
Yeah. It's just like 1 second. Let me adapt this.
These
From
are
my
mag-
young couture collection.
Yeah.
Wanting to branch out.
yes, yes.
These are magnificent. It's finally something in this human land worth it.
Stick with me, buddy. I will keep you well dressed.
Although as we keep walking, I keep pulling at the pants.
Stop it right now. That's the way they're supposed to fit.
So I think York is pretty good traveling like hood down. I think he's just in natural visage, just big, like way oversized
Yeah.
hood. You have to get up underneath the hood to see,
Yes.
unless he wants to see, unless he wants you to see his face. You're not going to see.
And are you still in your full ball gown, party gown thing, or have you switched over to something else?
I've switched over to a black and red hooded cape.
Uh-huh.
A little bit more muted. There's still like flecks of style to it, right? So like there's gold etching. The red has a it's like black ombre to red, kind of this gradient that is eye-catching, but not as bright and big as the gown she's wearing. But when she walks in, there is nothing. She has no secretive plan. Like Rosalind is very much like a bull in a china shop when she
Yeah.
wants to find something out. So-
I like to think that you made this adventure outfit like years ago. Like you had it set for when you go on an adventure. You just
Just
never
in
went on an
case.
adventure.
Yeah.
It's just been sitting in the part of the closet.
This
It's
is my
just-
adventure couture.
It's just like it's like a girl with like a Malibu Barbie like play set, and
Yes.
you just got all of the different ones,
Different fashion
and so you're
lines.
just like, and you're just like, let's see, astronaut cat, let's see, astronaut Rosalind, no,
Secretary
Well-to-do
Rosalind.
Secretary Rosalind,
No. Adventure Rosalind.
Adventure Rosalind, there we go,
Here we go. I have taken off
right
like, the
next to
uncomfortable heels.
President Rosalind,
Absolutely.
soon,
Absolutely. Veterinarian Rosalind is after that. She's wearing these knee-high boots, and she's taken away like any kind of heels in case she might have to run. But running, ew, who does that?
fair,
So on our way over, I kind of I figure we're adventuring over there, and I look over like, okay, so I had a thought. If you go in and start demanding his head, he may say no. So I let me go in and let me see if I can finesse the situation and try to get it back the antidote and see if we can do it peacefully, and then you can go in and burn him.
Listen, I always lead with politeness first, and then when that doesn't happen, then I collect heads. Why is that so hard for everybody to understand? I asked nice first.
Well, just to. But did I ever learn your name? I think all I know you as is Lady Capulet.
And scary lady.
And scary. Yeah, because to me you were scary lady.
I think you've heard Rosalind mentioned once or twice
Okay.
by some of the older staff members that have talked to her that they've exchanged the pleasantries because they've seen her like they've been around since she's
Okay,
been born.
I was just making
even
sure that.
though she's technically a lady of the house, she's a kid. She's the kid that they helped change her diapers, man.
Okay,
Like
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rosie, just stick with me here. Give me a chance to go in and see what I can do first, and then you don't even have to do it. You can just sit outside and then burn him alive afterwards.
I'll agree to that. If you try it and it's a no, then I fireball the place down.
That sounds perfectly reasonable, probably. I don't know human custom, but they'll say yes. That's probably what happens.
Well, how about this? I like fireball as a prank, in the same way that you like to poison people.
I like pranks. Yes, that is perfect. We'll just start here and then go to prank because if he
Perfect.
doesn't listen, he deserves prank. Yes.
Agreed.
Perfect.
Since York's been brought back, there's a lot of his past and memory that's missing. There's gaps, but at his heart, he was trained as a jester.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of chuckling at the absurdity of this. And he's perfectly fine with taking a back seat here.
Yeah.
And when we get to the apothecary, his task is he's just staying outside. He's just staying outside and kind of where he can see inside to see no one's going to approach us. He's just kind of going to be kind of from a distance kind of thing.
I'm just standing next to Yorick, like trying to look up his hood and being like, you don't have lips for lipstick, do
But
you?
when you look up in there, you kind of see just a skull kind of
You
peering down
just-
at the road, just kind of go, kind of chuckling. quietly. I don't know if you find that funny or disconcerting, but there's a chuckling skull under a dark hood
A
walking
little
next
of
to
both,
you.
actually. A little of both.
You could give him a smile with the lipstick. Just
just-
joker him.
Reach in. Hold. Yorick,
I
hold
got these
still.
scars.
I'm going to give you lips.
He stops. I'm very versed at my own makeup, thank you.
You don't have skin in which to put makeup on. I'm going to draw you some skin.
I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, Yorick, you're not fun.
You
Yes,
could
it's
draw
my-
ears on his side too. So
Ooh, yes.
You make your way. You cross the river at the. I looked up names. At the. The Ponte Pietra, and make your way southward. You make it past the Duomo. You make it past the Biblioteca. You at one point in time, you're heading straight there to get past the other side of the arena. When Rosalind takes both of you. And then has you go due east for like 3 or 4 blocks and then head back down south because she's wanting to steer clear of the Montague estate because one problem at a time.
I don't have the bandwidth for them today.
Yes. So you head down south. Again, it's that permanent dusk. So, Rosalind, at this point, you've probably been up for about like 12 hours. So you're getting tired, but you're not at the point where you're like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and sleep. Because you so far, I'm assuming, kept to like a 24-hour cycle to what you hope is still some semblance of dawn and dusk.
Yes.
So you begin to head down. The arena is currently closed. It's prepping for the big Christmas festival taking place during the like 6th through like the 6th through like 11th day of Christmas, right? So it's gonna be a big well-to-do. They'll have multiple stuff. There'll be games. There will be like a parade that goes around the whole neighborhood of the thing. They've got like posters plastered up everywhere. There's like a couple of criers out on the street that like announce that like, oh, they're announcing like a gladiator game. They're announcing a ship battle. They're announcing a reenactment of a couple of bigger stories and stuff. And they're trying their best to keep everyone in high spirits because it's the season, right? You head past down a mercantile district where it's smattering all over the place. Christmas is vomited on the streets of Verona in this section of town. There is, of course, like your pine trees and stuff like that with candles lit everywhere. Some straight up candles. Some of them are magical flames that have been cantripped out. There are all of the butchers have geese hanging out on the street for people to go and pick up if they're like for feasting and stuff like this. There's a barn burner sale on pudding right now as people are getting ready to start celebrating. And you make your way past that and things start to get darker. About 2 or 3 blocks before you make it to where the apothecary should be, the world flickers 2, 3 times. It strobes, and then it's dark. There's a blackout for about 5-10 seconds. You will hold your breath. These have happened before. They've always worked to come back on, but there's always that fear that the lights have given up, that it's a full blackout. And then on that exhale, lights come back on. And things are back to dusk again. Or actually now the light is on the other side of the horizon and it's dawn. Which is going to screw up everyone's circadian rhythms now, as the sun was over there and now it's over here. So that's great. The lights and the positions have changed, but there is light at least. And so everyone stopped in the middle of the streets waiting. And then with the lights coming back, everyone went, a sigh of relief. There's a couple of people that have maybe started crying because they really thought that this was going to be it. And you make your way back down. Any thoughts on the blackout before you guys make your way to the apothecary?
Well, that was uncomfortable.
Yeah. So I would say with 5 years of this, I would assume everybody just kind of freezes when it happens
Yeah.
and waits. Yeah.
Because the first one that everyone remembers, it was only like 1 second. Everyone thought it was just a blink, right? Everyone just was like, "Oh, that's weird." And then the next one after that was about 2 seconds.
Does dusk and dawn shift every time there's a blackout?
Not every time.
Not every time.
Sometimes it's just it's the same thing. Sometimes it shifts back over and it's dawn again. Sometimes it's dawn. Sometimes it's dusk dawn. Sometimes it's dawn dusk dawn dusk. It doesn't follow a set pattern. It just changes.
Does it happen in the backstage? Like, so have I ever actually seen it before? Or is this
You
like,
haven't. That was new for you, actually, because this is the first time you've been around. And the backstage, it's always just whatever amount of light is. It's whatever light is necessary to fit the mood of the room. If
Fair.
everyone's having a good time, then
It's
the
bright
light
and
is
sunny.
whatever makes it funniest. If
Yeah.
if people are schmoozing and trying to like get some, then the light is whatever like sets the mood and makes it
Yeah.
romantic. If
Perfect.
people are mad and angry, it's whatever light makes a battle better. It's always what's ever needed in the backstage, instead of the set dawn dusk cycle that has always existed, where there's nighttime and daytime and mid afternoon and stuff like that 6-7 years ago. So this is the first time you've ever experienced it. You knew that this was happening in the Bardlands, but this is the first time you've experienced it.
Is no one else concerned about this?
Well-
That was terrifying.
The only thing I'm concerned about is where the horizon is now. But this is actually, well, normal's not the best word, but closer to normal than not normal lately.
That's I thought it was bad enough that you don't get to choose your own lighting, but now this, that's no. That's,
Things are very different here than in the Feywild.
well, yeah. I think we need to find my King's Folio if she thought that if this would help. But oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Says not everyone despises the dusk and dawn. It does increase the amount of shadows.
I made some really good glow in the dark material because of the dust.
Dish.
Yeah.
At that, you arrive to the front of the apothecary. The wind is hitting the picture of herbs and flowers laying on top of a sign that says apothecary scrawled up, etched in wood, painted. Probably recently. It looks rather nice. The storefront, that's the only nice part of the building. The rest of the building looks old, dilapidated. You can't see inside the windows. They're so greased up with film and like dirt. The storm drains here are all backed up. You look down an alleyway and you just see a rat just hanging out. And like straight up, it's just like, yo.
good.
It's the worst parts of Verona are on display here in this city. In this part of the city, all of the eyes of all of the passersby are all looking down. No one's making eye contact with anybody. People bump into each other and they don't carry a single word. There's no sorries. There's no excuse me's. There's not even like a New York style "I'm walking here" like going out from anybody. It's everyone's just too sad to react over here.
What an unfortunate place. And gross.
See, this is why you humans need shoes. Ugh.
Oh, I don't live here. I would never.
It's all the same to me.
Ugh. All right. Are you going in or not?
Okay.
The whole place needs to be firebombed. Ugh.
Okay. I'll give you signal if things go south. And I walk on in, but I kind of puff up a little bit to look a little extra important. Excuse me, Mr. Apothecary.
Hello? How can I help you?
Hello, sir. I was sent from a mutual contact of ours.
Oh, okay. I've got a lot of patience. Can you be more specific?
Yes. His name was. I can. He kind of looks around. He's like a real exaggerated, like making sure nobody else is listening. It's our mutual friend, Ben.
At that, his eyes go wide, and he says, I don't know anyone by that name, or if I do, it's a very common name. I don't.
I think we both know. I use I use prestidigitation to kind of show, like, create a purple cloak, real quickly that kind of shows, just to kind of, so, like, you know, the connection, and then kind of takes it back.
No, don't.
I'm trying. I'm here. Like I said, I'm assuming there's no one else in this.
Listen, I told him I want nothing more to do with that kind of business. Okay, I've done it twice now, and the money is good, and Lord knows I need it, but I can't. My soul can't bear it anymore. Tell him that if he wants that kind of stuff for any of what he's doing, then he needs to find someone else, or he needs to come here and kill me himself. Because I'm not participating in this anymore.
I'm standing there listening at the door, and I just walk.
Just kids, damn it.
And I walk
Why?
in.
Oh, I got this. Okay, so my friend, I'm sorry. It's okay. Do you need a?
No, just don't.
Oh, okay.
Tell him that I'm not doing this kind of thing anymore.
Well,
Okay?
I have good.
I now have 3 names on my ledger that I'll never be able to take back.
Well,
It's
may,
my fault, damn it.
I may have some.
You
good
are
news
the
for
one who did it.
And at that, he sees you and recognizes you. And he's...
Okay,
No, you don't...
listen.
Please let me
Don't say a
explain.
word. Do you want to make up for the things that you've done?
I would give anything for the Lord's forgiveness in this.
Well, I'm definitely not the Lord, but here's the forgiveness I can offer. My mom has been poisoned.
I heard she's...
I need whatever you can give me to bring her back.
She's not dead.
No.
Everyone's saying that she died.
Well,
Okay, then there's time. There's time. It's only been... It's not even been like 3 hours. I can do this. Okay, and he runs into the back, and you hear clattering and everything.
see, and I didn't set it on fire.
And
I
he
had the situation under control. I was going to use my guile.
comes back about 10 minutes later, and he hands you a small envelope filled with a red powder. And he says, pour this directly into her mouth, and let it sit for about 3 or 4 of her heartbeats. After that, you're going to want to pour in the cleanest water you can get your hands on. Boil water. It needs to be as sanitary as possible, because anything else added into it could throw off the ratios and end up causing more harm than good. Okay? Give this to her, and hopefully within an hour she will wake up, and it will be as if she has just been sleeping.
Okay.
I would also like you to take me to your father. I need to beg his forgiveness, and the forgiveness of your whole family. And, and the Montagues.
Oh.
It's my fault. I could have spoken up all this time, and I've been too cowardly, and you are here and you know of me, and if I do not say anything now, then I will regret it for the rest of my days. And if I go and your family strikes me down, then so be it, but I must speak my mind.
Are you sure about that? Do you want to know who has the worst temper than both Tybalt and I combined?
I understand, but it's my fault.
Listen, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this envelope. I'm going to follow your directions. You're going to give me all the information you possibly can about Ben, and we are going to call your debt squared. I will forgive you on my father's behalf, and we're going to walk out of here as if none of this happened.
Roll persuasion.
$21.
I suppose it's time I confessed. I will see the priest, and I will ask him in this, but I will do as you say.
Thank you. I wouldn't recommend going to the Montagues either. Let's just keep this between us.
If the friar says that I must tell both families, then I will tell at least one of the Montagues. And if they wish to take my life, then so be it. Because it is my fault. And I cannot live with the guilt anymore.
Well, that's on you. I now have my antidote that I needed. If you decide you want to walk into death, I can't stop you. But as per our agreement, I would like to know a little bit more about Ben.
His accent was very specific. The girl came in first, and she couldn't say what she wanted. She didn't understand, I think, what it was I was what I deal in. So he came in, called her useless. He's not from here. His accent is odd. She called him Ben, but that seemed too simple a name for someone as himself. Whatever he signed, his receipt, he used a full script, and he shows you the signature. Yorick, you would be the one that would be able to best parse this kind of information. Roll investigation for me.
18.
On an 18, one second. How badly did I screw up on this name? I might have screwed up real bad.
That's good. We can retcon.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. You see that he did not sign it with a B. He instead of a large over dramatic B with everything, it was an M. And you're able to parse the name. It sounds bad. Malvolio that is a dark sounding name. You're not quite sure who this Malvolio is. Wow. Ben must be a pseudonym. But it's totally not that the GM got the names Benvolio and Malvolio confused. Shakespeare haunting me from the dead. Jeez.
Benvolio's from Romeo and Juliet.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
we'll take it and run with it.
Jeez. And with that, you see the name Malvolio written on the receipt. That's where we're going to end it today.
All right.
Out of time.
Yeah.
There we go.
Awesome, guys.
All right. So this has been real. Everyone who, if anyone's still watching live or who's watching the recording, once again, I'm your GM, Jacob. This stream is brought to you by the Dallas Public Library and our Story Center. All of the technology that we are using for today's stream is available for you free. All you need is a library card, which you can get for free if you live within the city of Dallas, or if you do some volunteering with the city of Dallas, you can also get a library card. I'm Jacob. I'm third floor staff. With me is...
I'm David Sanders, playing Yorick.
And...
I am Becky McDonald, and I'm playing Rosalind.
And...
I'm Alex, also known as the Bear Bard, playing Moth.
Yes, and these are my wonderful players, and they have been great. And with that, we will see you guys in 2 weeks for episode 3.
Nice.
Yay! Can't wait.
Yay! Until then, keep it real, guys. See ya.